Greetings to you viewers from across the globe. You're welcome to the show Viewpoint, where we discover perspectives and embrace dialogue. I'm your host, Odiawa AI, for Veegil Media. You do well to follow us across various social media platforms and also subscribe to our YouTube channel, Veegil Media. And don't forget to download the Veegil app on the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. On the show today, we'll be talking about the judiciary system. How can they be questioned? Who will ask them questions? Could it be the judiciary itself or the judicial system or framework or its helmsman or helmsmen who are actually untouchable? That we as citizens should actually continue to have confidence in the judiciary. Why? Because of recent reports within past months over a cabal controlling the judicial system. Hence, the topic of the show of today. Now, failing to reveal that among new appointments, one of the 23 new judges was actually his own son, appointed with the most ridiculous or outrageously scanty credentials, or that among the new judges, one was actually his nephew, and another was apparently evidently his son, the son-in-law of the president of the Court of Appeal. It remains baffling in the brain. Now, the Chief Justice of Nigeria apparently could not quite decide on the public standing of the institution which actually he leads. Now, far more detestable, his use of the word mob in the address of a piece of inspiring an own goal, because it seemed to fit much better as a depiction of a coordinated crime ring, which is what a mention of the legal executive reminds numerous people of in Nigeria nowadays. Now, Nigeria's Supreme Court held a special session on the 27th of November 2023 to formally usher in the new legal year, providing an occasion for a retrospective on the performance of Nigeria's judiciary by its leaders. Now, in a session of unprecedented levels of public anxiety over the political weaponization of the judges, and as a set-piece moment to compare notes of the dysfunctions that afflict the judicial system. Now, weaponizing it in a political way or manner, we could see from the electoral tribunals, there were so many cases which are still pending or ongoing. Now, the outcome has been so interesting to the point of the anti-climatics. Now, according to Shofunde, one of the senior advocates, addressing a special session on behalf of the body of the Senior Advocates of Nigeria, BOSAN. Now, he told a story of a case filed by Lagos State against the NSL, the National Sports Lottery, which began on the 5th of February 2005. This was a little over 18 years later, on the 31st of March 2023. Now, the Supreme Court decided that the appeal on the jurisdictional objection of the NSL to the original proceedings and remitted the substantive case back to the High Court of Lagos State for trial. Now, naturally, Shofunde, who, wondered aloud about by the fate of ordinary litigants if a powerful state such as Lagos State has no sensible pathway to a timely exit from the courts. Mr. Shofunde, characteristically, which of course is knowledgeable across the legal arm all over the country, is miserly with words and is not given to hyperbolic, or should I call it oratorical flourishes in the local parlance. Maybe just a praiser because of the English way they talk. Now, so when he said in an address to the Supreme Court, the public confidence in the judicial system is at an all-time low, which is evident anyway, to a point where it may no longer be redeemable. Now, I would begin to think that those with responsibility to run the legal or judicial systems of the nation would actually pay heed. Because, frankly speaking, what they are actually out for are the material, they're actually out for material gains when it comes to this profession, not actually the truthful gains. Now, the Attorney General of the Federation, Lateef Fagbemi, a prince and a senior advocate, he actually chose to plead the Fifth Amendment. If we all know what the Fifth Amendment is in the American Constitution, where they choose to say nothing so as not to indict oneself. Now, treating the occasion mostly as a social bill, congratulating the new sons who actually have been inducted into, the San Regalia, let me put it that way. Telling them how elevated and special they had suddenly become cautioning them to avoid speaking to the media and wish everyone good health in body, soul, and spirit. Seriously, if he had continued, he had even found time to tell them that these new sons who have actually been abducted into the senior advocate practicing something of the legal arm, that they have become demigods who can do and undo. Now, the question is, in every institution, someone must be answerable to someone. Now, who are these folks actually answerable to? Are they answerable to the executive? Because they are ones in charge of the law, actually interpreting to the law. Now, so as not to digress, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Olukayode Ariwoola, actually born on the 22nd of August, 1954. He will retire from office when he turns 70 in August 2024. As he acknowledged in his address, this was his last opportunity to report as a helmsman of the judicial system. It was also an opportunity to begin framing his legacy in the public imagination or psyche. He grappled valiantly with the former task, but appeared to have missed the memo on the latter, because we could see the judicial system now, as we speak now, from the lower courts to the higher courts, they are plagued with all sorts of cases, with cases of the highest bidder being quickly addressed. Now, most in particular in his address, it sounded more like an ode to an institution too immersed in impunity to understand the vice in arrogance. Now, the Chief Justice of Nigeria claimed that the Nigerian judiciary had fared well in the outgone last year and is now more deserving of the public trust and confidence than ever before. I tend to not go along those lines, because I am not really sure the confidence of the electorate had actually been won over the vote buying bazaar of the concluded elections in earlier on 2023 and even the off-cycle elections which have just been concluded. Now, tough following up with the promises that the judiciary is poised to reposition itself for effective justice delivery. But frankly speaking, it begs the question once again, why anyone would want to reposition an institution that is faring as well as to be deserving of public trust and confidence, which he had earlier said. He is actually contradicting himself. Now, evidently, in support of this perception, lay in the speech of which has been reeled out. The Chief Justice of Nigeria, I want to outline, delivered a report on the judicial vacancies, congratulating himself for appointing the new justices of appeal in September and 23 new judges of the Federal High Court in October 2023. Now, he failed to disclose among the new appointees, or rather, yes, the new appointments, one of the 23 new judges was his own son appointed, which people are actually bothered about because of the scanty credentials or qualifications which he might have. Now, are we trying to see now this is just a genealogical cabal which is actually trying to perpetuate itself in the judicial system? Or that among the new justices also, one was also his nephew, and another part was the son-in-law of the president of the Court of Appeal. Now, it's a cabal thing. Now, he also had the cherry-sick news that soon the Supreme Court will recruit 10 more justices to bring it up to full complement of 22, which is the actual number which should be anyway. If it brings to the process the kind of blinkers that rule the filling of the vacancies in the Federal High Court and the Court of Appeal, then most people have the right to be worried. Why? Because I have just said it's a cabal thing that is going on, trying to perpetuate themselves in the judicial system. Now, away from the judicial vacancies now, the CJN, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, proceeded to report that from the 12th of September 2022 to 11 July 2023, the Supreme Court registered 1,271 motions and appeals, out of which it had 388 political appeals, 215 criminal appeals, and 464 civil appeals, meaning that even the common man holds no sway, or in local parlance, as they say, he not get mouth. Now, at a similar occasion, only 2 years ago, Ariwoola's predecessor, Tanko Muhammad, reported that the court's portfolio of 269 appeals disposed of included 139 civil appeals, 102 criminal appeals, and 28 political cases. So 2 years ago, political cases were in total 10.67% of the appeals heard by the Supreme Court. Now, it's the money bags or the highest bidders who will actually be given more attention. The common man is given less attention here from the figures in which we have just rolled out. According to the CJ and Ariwoola's report, the same court in the previous year delivered a total number of 251 judgments, of which 125 were political appeals, 81 were civil appeals, and 45 were criminal appeals. Now, in just 2 years, the output of the court had actually fallen by 6.69%, and political cases have risen from 10.67% to 50%. Now, meanwhile, in the law faculties, professors will teach students that there is a political question doctrine, which is a rule for denial rather than acceptance of cases. The figures explains it all. These numbers or figures actually dramatize the extent to which the Supreme Court has become more captured by politicians and explain the crisis of lack of exit from courts, which the senior advocate Ebu Shofunde complained bitterly about. It is little wonder that the only people who can dispense any form of kindness towards the CJN and his mob, if we put it that way, of exponents is the jurisprudence of the Italian job, or sorry to say, if I may call it now, the Nigerian job, are exclusively politicians. Now, this misfortune is that rather than see an opportunity, only enemies can be seen or heard. It is my own view, my own opinion, and my own suggestion that every man should be treated equally, if that is what the judicial system should actually begin or perpetuate when it comes to setting a new legal year. I'm Odiawa AI for Veegil Media, and the show has been Viewpoints, where we discover perspectives and embrace dialogue. You do well to follow us across various social media platforms, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel, Veegil Media, and download the Veegil app on the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. Thanks for watching.